Finding his voice, faith, and fire. Reggie Smith and the Gaither Vocal Band's journey. The Gaither Vocal Band is one of the most recognizable and warmest names in Southern gospel music. Founded by the renowned Bill Gaither, the group has featured some of the best Christian music vocalists. A more complicated tale of hardship, change, personality conflicts, and perseverance, however, is hidden beneath the well-executed performances and happy harmonies. A name that longtime fans are familiar with, but whose tale has been understated, Reggie Smith is at the heart of one of the band's most intriguing recent chapters. Reggie appears to be the calm, composed figure on stage from the outside. Years of waiting, ego-filled rooms, rehearsal, faith tests, and the tension that frequently accompanies legacy-driven platforms have all been part of his path into the GVB spotlight. The highs and lows that accompanied Reggie Smith's journey to become a member of one of the most recognizable gospel groups in history are chronicled here. The silent legacy of Reggie Smith. In a society where greatness is frequently associated with volume, louder voices, more well-known performers, and more spectacular shows, Reggie Smith's journey with the Gaither Vocal Band serves as a reminder that sometimes genuine greatness resides in quiet strength, constancy, and humility. He didn't try to rise to the top. He made no demands of applause, attention, or solos. Reggie instead remained steadfast in the background for years, waiting, serving, and supporting. And when he eventually came into the spotlight, he did so gracefully rather than with arrogance. You don't often see humility like that. In the gospel music industry, where there is a lot of talent and personality conflicts, Reggie offered something more profound: consistency, compassion, and spirituality in a group that has seen more transformations than most churches. He became more than just a singer filling in the harmony. He has a modest story. No viral controversies, tabloid events, or scandals occur. But that's what gives it its strength. He struggled with staying loyal when it felt like the business was ignoring him, handling rejection, navigating the gradual ascent to fame, and bearing the burden of comparison. He continued to show up nevertheless, with a voice that calmed, a heart that served, and a spirit that never gave up. Reggie Smith's journey is a living example for everyone who has ever felt ignored, undervalued, or forgotten in their calling. Being faithful where God has placed you is more important than pursuing position. He will bring the remainder in due time. Today, Reggie is more than just a Gaither Vocal Band member. He is a live example that morality is still important and that the most lasting legacies aren't always the most conspicuous. Rather, they are the most enduring. One thing is evident as the Gaither Vocal Band enters new seasons. Reggie Smith supported the group rather than merely joining it. In the process, he provided us all with a silent guide to greatness that is based on faith rather than celebrity. Lowly beginnings and a golden voice. Reggie Smith was not a star by birth. Church, school, and music were the focal points of Reggie's early life as he was raised in a modestly off family in Jonesboro, Arkansas. He demonstrated remarkable vocal talent at an early age, which was noteworthy even in an area with a strong gospel tradition. At first, he followed music as a calling, something more profound than ambition, rather than as a career, supported by his family and community. He eventually attended Arkansas State University to study vocal performance and music before relocating to Nashville, the epicenter of country and gospel music. One of the most harmonically balanced duos in Southern gospel music, Reggie and his wife Lady Love Smith started playing together in the early 2000s. They gained notoriety as background session singers, frequently sharing the stage and recording booth with such icons as Sandy Patty, Larnell Harris, and finally Bill and Gloria Gaither. The prolonged path to Gaither's vocal group. Reggie Smith joined the Gaither Vocal Band, not overnight, as one might imagine. However, he did not immediately establish himself as a mainstay. For more than 10 years, Reggie and Lady provided backing voices for Gaither homecoming studio recordings, DVDs, and tours. Professionalism, consistency, and modesty characterized their performances. Reggie stayed in the background. Meanwhile, as other vocalists came and went, many supporters questioned, hasn't Reggie been made an official member yet? Band politics and group dynamics are part of the solution. From Guy Penrod to Mark Lowry, from David Phelps to Michael English, GVB has had scores of vocalists come and go, each bringing their own distinct personalities, fan bases, and occasionally egos. Reggie, on the other hand, was composed, grounded, and maybe lacked the star power that GVB required during its high peaks. However, Bill Gaither also saw heart, humility, and stability, elements that would be crucial as the band grew older and its roster changed. Taking over at last. Following a period of personnel changes, Reggie Smith was officially accepted as a member of the Gaither Vocal Band in 2017. David Phelps, the group's powerful vocalist whose high tenor range and jaw-dropping solos had distinguished it for years, left at the same time as his arrival. Phelps' replacement was no easy feat. The fans weren't convinced. Is Reggie able to take over? Reggie made no attempt. Rather than attempting to compete, he offered his own sound, which was warm, soulful, and smooth. The GVB entered a new era with this change, less spectacle and more solidarity. Songs like Chain Breaker, Hear My Song, Lord, and Child of the King gained fresh vitality as the harmonies were anchored by Reggie's strong baritone voice. Behind the smile, struggles. However, things weren't always easy. Reggie encountered both personal and professional obstacles while being promoted to full member. One fan opposition and contrast. Some diehard Michael English or David Phelps supporters weren't prepared to accept Reggie. Among the remarks on fan forums and social media were comments like, "He's too plain," and "He doesn't have the star energy we're used to." Always polite in interviews, Reggie never snapped, but those critiques were hurtful. 2. Tension of creativity. Having his own musical ideas, Reggie was an artist who sometimes disagreed with the group's direction. Although receptive to suggestions, Bill Gaither had strict control over the vocal arrangements, branding, and repertoire in a strictly controlled legacy machine. Reggie, a very spiritual man, occasionally found it difficult to express his uniqueness. 3. Pressure from touring. For a full-time member, touring was constant. While traveling most of the year, Reggie and Lady had to juggle marriage, ministry, and mental health. Lady has revealed in interviews that their relationship was put to the strain during times of fatigue and homesickness. A calm strength in the face of adversity. Despite these difficulties, Reggie persevered. His greatest strength was, in many respects, his character more than his voice. Mark Lowry notably quit the group due to creative problems, but Reggie stayed in the middle while others left in the midst of public arguments. Praying with crew members, supporting up-and-coming performers, and providing a sense of stability to vocalists like Wes Hampton and Todd Sevels were all roles he embraced backstage. Even Reggie's relationships with other singers were occasionally tense, especially when they couldn't agree on song arrangements or stage management. But those were never broadcast to the public. They were kept under wraps. Reggie was a firm believer in defending the ministry, even if it meant sacrificing pride. The person in charge of the microphone. Reggie is described as kind, knowledgeable, and firmly entrenched in his beliefs by those who know him directly. Outside of the spotlight, he and Lady coach young Christian couples, give church talks, and advocate for topics like mental health awareness and adoption. In addition, they've experienced personal tragedy such as miscarriage and have openly discussed God's faithfulness amid hardship. His views of music were influenced by these events. When Reggie performs psalms like "Through It All" or "I Know Who Holds Tomorrow," he is testifying as much as performing. The making of a legacy. Reggie Smith is no longer the new guy today. A vital member of the current GVB roster, he embodies both musical brilliance and spiritual development. He plays a less glamorous but no less significant role. More than just a singer, Reggie is now a voice of reason, a peacemaker, and a stabilizer in a group whose past has frequently been tumultuous. Although he might not always be the center of attention during a performance, audiences are starting to see what Bill Gaither always saw: a servant leader, a strong voice, and a loyal heart. Finding your position without trying. The path of Reggie Smith serves as a lesson in divine timing, patience, and humility. He did not call for attention. He did not seek for a position. After serving where he was planted, he eventually rose not simply because of human favor, but also because of God's favor.